What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
You're not interested in art?
No.
Now look, we're going to do this thing. We're going to have a conversation.
From Chicago, this is Filmspotting. I'm Adam Kempenaar.
And I'm Josh Larson.
And the Oscar goes to? Are they playing us off?
No. Well, maybe. Honora.
It's Oscars weekend, and just in time to help you screw up your office Oscars pool, we're here to tell you who will win, who should win, and who should have been nominated.
Joining us for that, our own Academy outsider, Michael Phillips, will also kick off Filmspotting Madness Best of the 1940s. It's all ahead on Filmspotting.
Welcome to Filmspotting, and the winner is us, Josh, because we are joined now by Michael Phillips this week. Welcome back to Filmspotting, Michael. How are you?
Oh, thank you. It's an honor just to be nominated to be back here, and
Yes.
And thank you very much. And also, I think you win Best Casting just alone, Adam.
There you go.
Just
right?
as a solo guy. Yeah.
We'll take
Wow.
it. We'll take
But
it.
I mean,
Kissing up
Josh
starts already. My goodness.
It was a close call for you, Josh. But
Yeah, I mean, I voted against you being on this episode, so I understand.
Later in the show, we're going to kick off. We left you out of these shenanigans, Michael, but certainly you'll be a part of it later. We are going to kick off the 11th annual Filmspotting Madness, our bracket-style movie elimination tournament. This year's theme is the films of the 1940s. So, Michael, you have to admit, it sounds like a pip, doesn't it?
yeah. Oh, it's a card and a caution. I mean, get me in there. I'd love to do it. See?
Okay. You'll join us later when we get down to maybe the final four, the final two, the championship matchup. It'll be great. A reminder that Filmspotting is now available as a video podcast. You can watch the show on YouTube, youtube.com/filmspotting, and you can find all of our episodes on our website, filmspotting.net/episodes. First up, we are going to talk Oscars, and we are going to do it in the usual format here on the show this time of year. Who will win, who should win, and who should have been nominated. And when we share who should have been nominated, that does mean we have to cut someone out. And Michael,
That's right.
we're going to start with you. So before we get to the who should have been and the cut, let's save that. Let's just kind of go around.
Okay.
And let's talk first about who will win and who should win. And we're going to start with the category of supporting actress. The nominees are Elle Fanning, Sentimental Value; Inga Ibsdottir Lilius for Sentimental Value; Amy Madigan, Weapons; Wunmi Mosaku, Sinners; and Teyana Taylor for One Battle After Another. Michael, who do you think will win? Who do you think should win?
Yeah. So it's not statistically the favorite, according to Hollywood Reporter, because they're saying Amy Madigan's going to win for Weapons, which would be a happy thing, I think. I like that film a lot, and we'll talk about it more later. But I still think it's going to be Teyana Taylor for One Battle After Another. I don't know if I even think it's the best performance of the five, but God knows it was a key component of a great ensemble. And is it the best performance in that size of role of the year? I don't know, but we're going to talk about that later. But that's my feeling. I'm so usually, at this point, statistics driven about who's won along the way. And who,
You're a math guy.
Yeah, of course. I got a solid 70 in algebra in high school. D minus in algebra. But yeah, I'm still, something tells me it's still going to be Teyana Taylor. That's my feeling. But you know, the Amy Madigan thing haunts me, and maybe I'll hear that name from one of you two. I don't know, but that's where I sit right now.
You think Teyana Taylor is going to win?
Yeah, I
who
do.
would you vote for if you could?
This is a really strong category. I mean, I think Wunmi Mosaku for Sinners is terrific. I think Elle Fanning for Sentimental Value is, well, good, totally solid. But I actually would give it to Inga Ibsdottir Lilius for Sentimental Value. It's a great performance. It's one of these performances that the role on the page becomes more and more prominent and important as this film that Joachim Trier made becomes really the story of sisters.
Yes.
Very much in the last 45 minutes. And I love that about this whole year, 2025, and that we had in all kinds of films kind of unpredictable focus shifts on just who's going to kind of land this story for us, or who becomes the protagonist, or at least becomes crucial to the real themes of the film. And in One Battle, it's Chase Infinity suddenly becoming the protagonist of the story, as Willa, the young revolutionary who's running for her life. And I think that the sentimental value works in a stealthy way to kind of give Lilius a real major role. And she is, I'm ashamed to say, new to me. I've never seen her in a film. She has done almost as much film work as forgetting the name, Renata Reinsva.
Renata Reinsva?
Reinsva.
Yeah.
For the lead, who was wonderful and an Oscar nominee for The Worst Person in the World, but she's just as kind of popular and respected and good stage and film credits all over Scandinavia, and it's just a real gratifying thing to see her fill out and just no problem handle a very tricky role that's more recessive in terms of the story and the dramatics, because she is the sort of stoic cleanup utility player in this screwed up family, having kind of cleaned up other people's messes her whole life, starting from childhood, and that's part of the plot. But I love it. I love that performance, and I think I'd go with her personally.
Okay, Josh.
Look at Michael with his statistics coming in here with stats. I mean, I have to offer my annual disclaimer, which is that no research, no stats from me. I haven't been following the pundits. I'm probably on social media even less than I was at this time last year when I said the same thing. However, just had a Filmspotting meetup in Copenhagen Saturday night, and the major topic of conversation was the Oscars and who we thought might win, who we wanted to win. It was a blast. So I'm bringing that knowledge, this group sourcing to our
Danish
conversation.
Groupthink.
I want to thank Mikkel, Lars, Benjamin, Debbie was there with us too, who weighed in, had some strong Oscar opinions. Everyone did. Thank them for the great night, the good commiseration, and blame them, listeners, if you follow our advice and your ballot goes up in flames.
Don't
it was
blame
those
Josh.
guys.
You'll always have friends in Copenhagen if you flame
I
out here.
was just being a good host. I mean, I wanted them to feel good, so I pushed their choices forward, and none of what follows is my fault. Okay, Best Supporting Actress will win. I think it's going to be Wunmi Mosaku from Sinners. We discussed the sentimental value vote split possibly happening between those two actresses, dividing the people who are very excited about that movie. I feel like, and here's where you're showing I'm way off, like Madigan, that sort of performance is so out there for the Oscars. Actually, it's just out there in every way that maybe it's like an honor to be nominated type thing when people actually get down to filling out their ballots. That's kind of my instinct. Again, could be wrong. And maybe too, in Wunmi Mosaku's favor is that if One Battle after another carries the day in the bigger categories, not saying that's going to happen, but if it does, this is a chance for voters to honor Sinners by giving this award to her. Who should win? I'm going to stick with Mosaku as well. I mean, of these nominees of this batch, on my Chicago Film Critics Association ballot, I had Mosaku and Teyana Taylor. So, and just looking at my rankings, I had Mosaku ranked a little bit higher, though, Adam, when we rewatched and had a second discussion about One Battle, Taylor impressed me even more. So I should also note, I had not seen Sentimental Value before that CFCA deadline. I'm not sure Lilius would have been at the top of my list anyways, but I think, Michael, I really think you're onto something. Low key, she might give the key performance of the movie exactly in the way you described. She's just incredible in it. So totally understand anyone going that direction.
Remind me who took the Supporting Actress Award in Chicago for the Chicago group.
Ooh, that is a great question.
I want to say it might have been Madigan. Maybe, Josh, you can look it up as we
let me
transition over to my will win. I do think it's going to be, Madigan, just because she won the actor award, as it's now called, right? She is a respected, acclaimed actress. I had not realized this, Michael, because I do not remember this movie at all? A past Oscar nominee? Do you recall Twice in a Lifetime from 1985?
Yeah, I do, and but I do not remember that I did not remember that she had been nominated for that.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that category of nominee, when it's that far back for a very minor film that didn't make any kind of dent, particularly, is essentially like a lifetime. It's like it never happened.
Right.
And I almost wonder if we'll talk about Sean Penn in a minute, but I almost wonder if that's sort of the feeling about Sean Penn. The guy's won 2 Oscars, but it's been a while. And I think since COVID wiped everybody's sense of time and memory, halfway clean, it feels like, 2 lifetimes ago. So anyway, it's an interesting thing, though.
Yeah.
No, I'd not remembered that until this all came up.
You know, Aunt Gladys somehow has become this cultural icon. Unless my hairdresser was lying to me, he said there's a sequel coming out, or there's an Aunt Gladys like prequel that's in the works apparently. So, when you take the impact somehow that character has had, and Madigan's respect in the industry, feeling like maybe it's overdue or she's due for some recognition anyway, I feel like she is actually going to take it. In terms of who should win, it's hard because with supporting, I find myself falling into a trap that maybe a lot of people do, including voters, I don't know, which is weighing screen time or thinking about, how much supporting are they doing? How much work are they doing in the film? And there's a part of me that feels like I wish Masaku didn't get so sidelined in all the chaos in the second half of Sinners. But then you could argue, well, Amy Madigan doesn't really appear until the second half of Weapons as it is. But then once she does, what a mark, right? That she makes. I mean, Aunt Gladys is so over the top. And I know this is this heightened, demented fairy tale world somehow, but is also grounded in a reality that we recognize. And so she is too. Somehow she's completely over the top and believable.
Now listen, I know that is inconvenient, but I really needed to speak to you about our conversation yesterday. Oh.
Marcus, get her a glass.
A bowl, please.
A bowl?
Yes, a bowl. It's a peculiarity of mine. I don't even try to rationalize it anymore.
I do credit Madigan for that. And that's why I am voting for her, or I would vote for her if I could, even though I like all the other performances. And I might, and I was going to say, Michael, I think you are right. I want to corroborate what you said, and Josh did as well. That
nothing new there.
Lilius is the one performance that is just a steady presence throughout her film. Right. And feels like she's doing really important work. That character is doing really important work for the narrative, but subtle, but important work the entire time. Whereas
right.
these other characters kind of have really important scenes and then they may disappear for chunks of the film.
Right.
With that all said, I still would actually give it to Madigan, I think.
I might take slight issue with, and I've used the characterization before just in conversation. I don't think what Madigan is doing is really over the top. I mean, she does so much. She's very smart. I think she's done decades. And she knows how much that physical design work of what she's wearing and that particular hair, in all the sort of makeup and hair that sort of adds to the slightly, maybe radically off kilter, just the visual appearance of this woman who has, a few secrets to share with the audience as the story goes. But it's not a performance that's like over the top in the sense of, Nicolas Cage or
I agree with you, Michael. I'm saying Aunt Gladys is over the top.
Yeah,
the character is
outlandish character versus
right, and so she counters that by not playing that at all.
No, right,
I agree.
Yeah. One other thing, and then I'll let Jeff. So, okay, Adam, you said your hairdresser was talking about Aunt Gladys. Do you have any fears about going back to him based on
He's a big fan of weapons, so I'm going to trust
him. If he's
him.
devoted to that sort of bowl cut look, because that redefines her bowl cut is like a whole new. That's like 2.0, man.
I didn't think. I actually should have specified. He is my former hairdresser.
Oh, I was going to say when Adam shows up on our next video show with orange hair, I'll have no questions.
We know what happened. Okay, Michael, the fun
part. Let me follow up real quick, Adam,
okay, Josh, go ahead.
To your question. That actually, Chicago Film Critics, the winner was Teyana Taylor from One Battle After Another for Best Supporting Actress. Yeah.
Okay.
The votes I suspect will be close on this one, but see where it goes.
If you could have nominated someone instead, who would that be, Michael, and who would you cut if you had to?
I personally, myself, I would honestly go, I would dip into the same ensemble and I would have nominated Chase Infinity. And not just because on the page, the character Willa, who becomes increasingly the focus of the story, and I think without pandering, I think the father-daughter dynamic in the picture and the fact that it actually means something and there's no corollary at all in terms of like true authentic sincerity and emotional feeling in the Pynchon novel with those corollary characters. It's I think she's not just young and promising or young and highly talented. I think she's essentially really damn lucky that the part lets her do all she's completely capable of now, because that's what gets you over the line. I think that's why it's one of the few films I saw last year of any quality, let alone top tier, that truly does get better and better as it goes. And she's, I think, the reason, number one. So that's my pick. Yeah.
Not to get too lost in the semantics of it, though, Michael, was she someone you really saw as appropriate for the supporting actress category? Because I think she was being tossed around more for best actress.
That would have raised just as many eyebrows, I think, among a different crowd. So no, I don't know.
Okay.
Hard to say, but that's, again, like, as I say, I sort of find the willful sort of genre mashup and like focus switcheroos with a lot of my favorite movies last year kind of stimulating. So,
sure.
But no, I don't think so. I think it's actually, it's about right. I mean,
okay.
Yeah. So
who would you cut?
Who would you have kicked out, Michael?
Kicked out? Elle Fanning, I guess. Certainly, yeah. Out of the five, I think it's a very good performance, and it's not an unimportant role, and but it's not quite as special. Maybe it doesn't serve the same kind of narrative purpose. It's it's very good work. It's also like it's really sharply written because it's not just a stooge or a straw kind of adversarial character, like the imperious American star coming in. Blah, 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 blah. No, it's much better than that. And the whole film was much better than that. So that's but Elle Fanning next time, pal. I say, I call her pal.
It's good for you. All right, should have been nominated for me. I mean, basically, when I do this thought exercises, I try to stay realistic. So I don't go to my personal ballot and pick someone who the Academy would never even consider because it was a minor independent film or maybe even a foreign language film that they're not going to recognize the acting work. So I set those picks, even though I may have made them aside from my personal list, and look for someone who, curious that the Academy didn't go this way. And they were, close to my favorite performances of the year. Odessa Azayan from Marty Supreme falls squarely in that category. She's a standout in a cast full of endlessly fascinating faces and characters, and she holds her own with every one of them, including Timothée Chalamet. So would say she should have been nominated. Really eager to watch her future work. Who am I going to kick out? Yeah, this is the really where you feel bad part of this is now we're piling on, because I would also choose Elle Fanning. Totally with you, Michael. Very good work. Astutely performed. Agree with you on your observation about the character being written. It's a very richly conceived character. I don't know that she necessarily brings much more to the part that isn't on the page. There's so much on the page she doesn't have to. So this isn't a critique. We're just talking about the best of the year. And yeah, I would probably move her out and move Odessa Azayan in.
Yeah, I'm actually right with you, Josh. I would nominate. The more I thought about, again, reconsidered, rewatched Marty Supreme and fell in love with that entire movie, all over again, but on a deeper level, I also really appreciated that Zion performance. And I think you spoke to this during our review, but also just now a little bit, the way that character, and of course, through Zion's spunky performance, I don't know what else to call it. It's just so alive. It's so electric. The way she challenges Marty, the way she's able as an actress to challenge Chalamet. I don't know how many other performers who maybe aren't as known as her would be up to that challenge, and she stood out. There's no doubt about it, and you now want to see whatever she's going to be in next based on that performance. So I would put in a Zion, and with Fanning as well. It feels like, I'm not going to say slight work. It feels like slighter work, but that is part of the character. That's inherent to the character and how it's written. And so there are some times where you're watching the film and you're thinking, is Elle Fanning a really good actress playing a bad actress? Or is she a not very good actress who's also kind of playing a not very good actress? Or is she just a good actress who's playing kind of an unformed actress? And that's infiltrating our minds a little bit as we consider the performance. In the end, I feel the same way the two of you do. I think it's a really smart performance, and I think it is a very nuanced performance. And I think she knows the layers that she's playing, and it isn't a bad performance, even though that actress maybe needs some more development, and that's who that character is. But I do think of the five, it's my least favorite performance, and she's in a movie full of heavyweights, so maybe that's a little bit unfair. But you're right. We're talking about the best performances of the year, so it doesn't really need to be an attack on Elle Fanning.
And
ultimately.
now she's never going to work in any town again. I mean,
I know she's never going to come on
Hollywood.
Filmspotting.
It's never going to. It's all her good work for nothing. Yeah.
And the Oscar goes to Kieran Culkin of Real Pain.
Best Supporting Actor, Benicio del Toro, One Battle After Another, Jacob Elordi, Frankenstein, Delroy Lindo, Sinners, Sean Penn, One Battle After Another, Stellan Skarsgård, Sentimental Value. Michael, will and should.
Okay, will, Sean Penn, shouldn't, but will. Should out of that bunch. Holy crap! I mean. Del Toro's just delightful. I just love the way he just sort of swims against the whole tide of all the nervous, sort of social collapse going on around him, and doing what he can with a few small beers too. But out of that bunch, I will counter the trends and say. The one who won't win, but Delroy Lindo, I think, for Swin. Now I've always loved that actor. A lot of people feel like he got skipped over for any number of films, including *Da 5 Bloods* and other work for many other directors. I've seen that guy on stage since I saw him with James Earl Jones and Delroy Lindo in *Master Harold and the Boys*, the Ethel Fugard play. I mean, it's like, could you get two better actors alive in English? It was just stunning. This tale of this South African sort of power play with just a 3-character play. But man, oh man, that guy's good, and so good in August Wilson stuff. I've seen him. So Delroy Lindo, his best scenes got cut, like a lot of people. There's plenty of deleted scenes from Sinners that are, a couple of them are online here and there. And I think a couple of scenes for that character Lindo plays didn't make the final cut. It's not a short movie as is. And I suspect he felt at the time like, the big scenes in the second half, where are they? But I don't think he's the only actor who felt that way. And I still think he registers great just for the voice he comes up with in this part, because it's perfect, because it's attention getting, but it completely feels lived in, like he really has been down there in that town playing those songs, sitting on whatever he's sitting on the railway platform, and just being the kind of cultural emissary for the region that he is as a blues man. So I love that performance. So that's who I would like to see win.
I've been hearing about this one particular young man all day. He's supposed to be a bad blues man. Preacher boy, where you at? Come on here, man.
Josh.
This was a very divisive category for the Copenhagen crew. We probably spent the most time on this one. There was some strong support for Penn, and then Michael countered with the good point that he and Del Toro could split the one battle vote.
Yes.
So that,
True.
Gave us pause. I personally was partial to Delroy Lindo as well, Michael, and also thought maybe the career achievement factor might come into play here, which voters do take into account in the end. And because Denmark, at least, is still a democracy, we put it up to a vote. Penn came out on top. So should win. I'm gonna go a different direction. Will win. Will win is Penn. Should win Benicio del Toro. I mean, Sensei Sergio St. Carlos, still my patron saint for 2026. I'm not going to abandon him now because he will never abandon me.
Fair. Completely fair. Okay. Who will win? I think it's going to be Stellan Skarsgård. I think because of the Golden Globe win, I think potentially the narrative around being the first supporting actor nominee from an international film, because he's international, that may explain why I would suggest, unlike an Amy Madigan, for example, he may not be considered like a beloved Hollywood figure, but certainly a very well-respected actor. And I think you factor all of that together, even if it could be seen as some kind of lifetime achievement award or career achievement award, the fact is the performance is deserving of it. And when all of that conspires, that feels to me like a win. And I think you're right, Josh, as well, or the Copenhagen crew was right that the split factor for one battle after another could really play a role here as well. I think Skarsgård is the one who's going to take it. And in terms of who should, here's the thing. We may have to retire this show, this episode, or reformat it because the Academy isn't making consistently terrible choices anymore.
That's true.
There are two categories I wouldn't alter at all this year of the 6 we're doing, even if I could. And I'd probably be okay with leaving intact another 2. You may recall this, Josh, if you haven't blocked it from your memory, because it was such a heinous violation of the rules. In 2024, there were 2 categories then where I refused to play the who should have been, who do you cut game, because the Academy was bang on, supporting actor and director. And so, this entire exercise, the silly exercise we're doing, is predicated on the understanding, like the fundamental understanding that every year, every category, the Academy is going to screw something up royally, and we're going to have something to disagree with. But when we don't, what are we doing anymore? And that's my feeling about this category. They got it exactly right. These are the nominees. I have no notes, and that makes it very difficult.
Wait a minute.
I think they did. These are the
Michael,
five.
this guy's campaigning to become an Academy voter. That's what's happening here.
I think it makes it. You can question my integrity all you want. I'm saying these are the 5. It makes it very difficult for me to pick a winner. It makes it almost impossible for me to kick someone out unnecessarily. With all that said, I'll get to who I would kick out. Who I think should win. I am also going to stick with who I had number 1 on my CFCA ballot, as tough as it was, because it was these 5. I had Stellan Skarsgård at number 1. And even though, of course, Benicio del Toro and his character is my favorite character, I love Delordi. I think he's maybe the only real reason to see Frankenstein. And Lindo, when I saw Sinners, Michael, I was sure when I saw Sinners there would be a no better supporting actor performance that year. And that at the end of the year, I had already penciled Lindo in as my number 1. So that's why this is so hard. And yet, I do think about sentimental value. And besides the landscape of that film, like the physical landscape of that film, the other physical landscape I think about is Stellan Skarsgård's face. And I think about the the toughness of that performance, but also the gentleness that that character shows. I do think there's a lot going on and a lot of quiet moments with that character. And it is a quiet performance ultimately. And I was really drawn to it. And I'm going to stick with my guy.
He's your guy. He's your guy.
Yeah.
Well, and in the predictive sense, he clearly has the most screen time of any of these, right?
There's no doubt about that too.
So
some people think he should have been nominated for actor, not supporting.
I can understand that. So that works in his favor in terms of, a possible win.
Yeah. And also we should not, I think because it may be a factor with some U.S., Hollywood-based voters, especially if they've had a few decades behind him like Skarsgård has. He's recovered from a pretty serious stroke. He doesn't have all his memory like it was, and he's struggled with a few things. And, he made no bones about it. He took an earpiece for the role, and in that you're fed the lines, through that, and then you say them. And he's not the only actor to be doing this now. Johnny Depp has been doing it for years, and it's all, it's on the record. And you can go back to Marlon Brando in The Godfather. He wasn't wearing an earpiece yet.
No, but reading it off of Robert Duvall's chest.
Yeah, and it was right. Yeah. It was like taped of an actor, or there was on a chalkboard. And somehow, if you have the actor or actress, but the performer who's got everything going for them, except an interest in or an ability to memorize like they used to in the old days, you do not notice it while experiencing the performance if the film is good enough. And that's what you have here, I think, Skarsgård. But a lot of people, I think, a lot of U.S. character men, let's say, or let alone, all the rest of the Academy, great actresses, great cinematography, whatever. They're not... they're going to look at that and say, this guy came back, and he didn't just come back in some sentimental doodad of a role. It's like he's right in there. It's an organic piece of ensemble work. Everybody's part of it, and he's obviously a key part of it. Yeah. So I think that's a factor. If he wins, then that's a factor in why.
Okay. Michael, who should have been? It seems like maybe you guys disagree with my take that these are the right five, so it'll be very easy for you to suggest someone who should have been and who should have been cut.
Yeah, it's easy for me to correct you on that, Adam. I think
always is.
I think that Jacob Elordi's very good. I would flush his participation in this category this year. I don't think he's all that in Frankenstein. I also, maybe it's because I was struck. I had to see it a second time because it had been a few months. So the second time through Frankenstein, I was struck at just how, not just in terms of story themes, but just in the way that Del Toro is filming and shaping the whole story. It really is like an unofficial remake of The Shape of Water, and it's, and I've seen that film, and I don't know if Elordi's really bringing anything to that project that truly surprised me. And maybe he's a fastidious enough visualist as a director that Del Toro just doesn't allow for necessarily a lot. On the other hand, you got people go swinging for the raft. They're just like swinging for the fences in this movie, like Oscar Isaac with mixed results. Kind of going bug house on the role, which is entertaining-ish. But I don't know. Does Elordi really deserve this nomination? I don't think so. So he's out. And I would put in either, honestly, I'm gonna split it. I know I hate to pull an Adam. Isn't that more Adam's tendency, Josh?
Yeah, he's already admitted to
supposedly
refusing to play by the rules.
Allegedly.
Yeah. All right, I give it to Michael Cera in The Phoenician Scheme for pulling me through that movie alive single-handedly.
We agree on that.
Getting laughs where none were found anywhere else, and also honoring Anderson's chosen aesthetic. And but it's a tie with the opposite. It's funny, he could be his grandson in terms of like sort of demeanor and everything else. But William H. Macy in Train Dreams, he really is kind of the best of that. And even in the scenes where he's sitting around the campfire speaking some somewhat indigestible hunks of poetry disguised as human speech, it took an actor as good as Macy to pull it off. And it's probably his best performance. It's one of the least Mammety performances he's ever given.
That's for sure.
David Mamet. It really feels like he just knew how to play that guy because he's about that age and he's looking back as much as he's looking forward at this point. So, yeah,
it's hard to recognize him, actually. And I don't just mean because of the beard and the age. Like, it took me a good 20, 30 minutes to be like, that's William H. Macy.
Yeah.
He disappears into that character.
Yeah, yeah. And actually, I was mistaken watching Weapons. I thought William H. Macy was playing Aunt Gladys. So maybe he's more, maybe he's just more versatile and kind of a chameleon than I thought. But that's the only time I'm going to throw. That's the only tie I'm going to mention tonight with these categories. So that's my tie.
Good.
William H. Macy also goes to Adam's hairdresser. Curiously enough.
That's right. That's right.
Michael, I'm going to help you make the decision you refuse to. Who should have been nominated Michael Cera for the Phoenician Scheme? Holy moly, the Academy got that one wrong. Who should have been kicked out? I think I would remove Sean Penn. I love the spot-on impersonation of an insecure ice boy. That gave me so much pleasure. I still think even after 2 viewings, and while appreciating what he is doing, a little less of Lockjaw would have been a little better for one battle after another.
Better for the film.
So for that reason, he's the one I'd probably remove.
Okay. Well, I couldn't stand the judgment from you guys if I didn't play along, even though I think these are the right 5. So I've got picks here, guys.
Nice.
And
let's go. I
said they're the right 5, and I had these right 5, but that's not technically true. I had left Sean Penn off my ballot originally. I've only come around to be a fan of that performance after reconsidering it when we did our Sacred Cow review of that film a month or 6 weeks ago or so. I'm getting it now. I'm more on the wavelength with what Penn is doing as Lockjaw, and I think it belongs in this category now. At the time, though, I actually had snuck in the work Paul Mescal's doing in Hamnet alongside Jesse Buckley, but the others that I was strongly considering and moving in and out, depending on what ballot I was filling out, were William H. Macy, Michael for Train Dreams, and Andrew Scott as Richard Rogers in Blue Moon, who I think does some pretty incredible work there in a performance that, could be very much overshadowed by what Ethan Hawke is doing as Lorenz Hart. Michael Cera, I honestly didn't think about as much as Josh. I love that performance. I'm with you. It was the only thing I really enjoyed about the Phoenician Scheme. That one felt to me, I guess, a little bit like not a realistic option for the Academy. And so maybe my brain didn't give it full consideration. I am going, nevertheless, since I am playing along, I'm going to cut Penn because he wasn't on my ballot originally. And if I was going to put someone in, I'm going to go with Andrew Scott. I'm going to go with Andrew Scott as Richard Rogers.
I like it.
That performance just surprises me. It surprised me in the moment. It surprises me when I rewatch scenes of it. The depth of what he does with few scenes, actually with relatively few scenes in that movie, to counter the just that avalanche, of energy that Lorenz Hart is, but without being ever overwhelmed at all by it. Like he somehow still gives as good as he gets from Hawke in that role. So Andrew Scott would be my should have been if I had to pick.
I don't know anybody who doesn't think that those are the best scenes in Blue Moon. I mean, he's only got about 15, 17 minutes of screen time in the film, and that's more than enough. And you do absolutely kind of just lean into him because you're happy to see Hart, as played by Ethan Hawke, enter a different kind of dynamic with the material because he's got a great actor to work off of, and it's very good because it's a very casually self-centered, casually, subtly insecure,
right. He should be really easily hateable, and he might be,
but also, truly sort of exasperated at his longtime colleagues' behavior and dissolution, and it's
rightfully so.
Yeah, those are very good scenes.
They are.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to. I'm so glad you approve of me for once, Michael. I feel like Lorenz Hart and you're Richard Rogers in this scenario.
And the Oscar goes to Adrian Brody.
Let's go to lead actor. Speaking of Lorenz Hart, because Ethan Hawke is nominated for Blue Moon, alongside Timothée Chalamet, Marty Supreme, Leonardo DiCaprio, one battle after another, Michael B. Jordan, a dual performance in Sinners, and Wagner Mora, I should say, for The Secret Agent. Michael, will and should.
Michael B. Jordan, I think, will. And that sort of really seems like it's only kind of come up the last month or so, where he seems more and more possible, not just possible, but maybe likely to win. But I think he will. He should win. I go Wagner Mora, actually. I think that was, as long as he's been working in film, some of us have seen him in a few things. I think, it doesn't say much to say he's the key to why The Secret Agent holds together in its unpredictable narrative. It's a very, and like a lot of the work we're talking about here, just like Andrew Scott, it's a very sort of steady, fairly subtle performance. The character is not, he can't afford to be an emotional extremis lest he give his cover away. So it's baked into it. But I found him, maybe it's the same kind of discovery people felt about Pedro Pascal, it was 7-8 years ago when he started really hitting everybody's radar because he just made so many movies, or any number of other actors. But I love that performance. And Michael B. Jordan also, very, very good. If I had one reservation about what he's doing, I wish that Coogler and Jordan together had figured out a way to make those two twins, one of just to make the characterization just slightly more surprising in terms of either one or the other.
Bingo.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying like, you don't want to turn it into like some sort of like flashy showcase for, like wild versatility, but just it's about 15% the same. This is just in demeanor and personality, because they're meant not to be the same personality. Obviously, hothead, less hot-headed, volatile, less volatile. A little more, and I know he was, as an actor, he would have been up to it, and I kind of wish it would have juiced the movie this much more, and the movie works as it is, obviously. But anyway, that's enough on that.
Yeah, no, I'm really with you there, Michael. It's a shading thing, because it's a great performance, and you can see the potential for it to elevate to the stratosphere if that shading was there. So who will win? Man, I'm second guessing this as you talk, Michael, but we did end up going with Chalamet. And here's where maybe being me personally, not on social quite as much, hurts. Also, the timing of when voters actually submit their ballots, I think, is crucial, because not only did Michael B. Jordan have this, this kind of like late push of wins, but apparently, Chalamet said something about the ballet. I don't know, but maybe that was
opera and ballet. He was like saying opera and ballet are dead. Movies are
ruffled
dead.
A lot of feathers. And then was that before votes were due? Who knows? I don't know. We stuck in our conversation with Chalamet, who should win. I'm going to go, and I'm kind of surprised by this. Adam, this is due to our second watch of One Battle, and digging into that, I'm going with DiCaprio. It just really solidified the comic dexterity he shows there. And he's shown this before. Like, I think that's one of the things I've always appreciated about Wolf of Wall Street, as big of our split is on that film, Adam. Like, DiCaprio's comic dexterity there is undeniable. Here, it's just maybe in a different register, more attuned with the film, more aligned with the film for me. And then he has all the emotional sincerity that the part needs, which you touched on, Michael, in terms of the father-daughter element of this movie. So I'm going to go should win. I think it should be DiCaprio.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I think.
Well, a convincing argument. That's
sure.
I'll take it.
I do think, Michael, you're right. It just seems like, and I don't know all the ins and outs of the voting and the timing either, and that could be really important, because it does seem like now all of the momentum somehow is behind Michael B. Jordan. And I don't mean somehow, isn't it surprising, really? It's deserved. I get it. But I somehow thought, until I really started researching and paying a little bit more attention, I really somehow thought this was Ethan Hawke's. I thought it was in the bag, just due to the nature of everyone's kind of collective appreciation for him as a performer, and that performance feeling like it was the perfect application of his verbal dexterity. And apparently that's not the case, because this whole time it's been Chalamet and now Michael B. Jordan, and winning the actor award. The fact that he seems now, like I said, he's kind of overtaken him in the conversation. Chalamet, the Sinners domination really of the award season to this point, taking the largest, nominations, to date with 16. There's just a lot of buzz around this movie, and I think it is extending to Jordan as well. I think he's gonna win it, and I'm okay with that if that's the case. Maybe I'm blinded by my appreciation for him as an actor and for his entire career. But of these, Hawke's performance is my favorite, and it's actually for how un-Hawksian it is. I don't think that Ethan Hawke relies on any of his usual bag of tricks in that performance. I don't think playing Lorenz Hart allows him to rely on his go-to kind of tools as a performer. So I'm gonna give Ethan Hawke the love that I don't think the Academy apparently is willing to give him.
And we will see.
I mean, he's got in a normal year, Adam, it's the sensible pick, because how many nominations does he have without a win? And I know some of them are in the writing category as well.
Is it
but
three?
He has,
two,
I think at
two
least
performer,
two acting,
okay,
right?
Yeah.
And maybe two in writing as well. So, and this is not to denigrate its element in the performance, though his look is quite jarring in the movie, I will say. But just trying to look objectively and Academy history, physical transformation is an element that tends to get attention and awards. Now, to your point, Adam, like that has maybe shifted in recent years, where I do think the voting membership has become more sophisticated, and maybe we've seen less of that recently. But in Academy history, that would work in his favor too. I think it's just, and personally, I think it's a very good performance as well. I think it's just like maybe the wrong year for him to have given this performance and get a win.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't agree. Well, I don't agree for reasons we can get to if we get to the next category.
Let's do it right now. Let's talk about who should have been cut and who you would like to insert instead, Michael.
Well, let's just call up the notes here. I was looking up Ethan Hawke's 5 Oscar nominations right now. I forgot about Training Day.
That's the one I was thinking of for sure.
Yeah. And Boyhood, and and so this is his third. I would kick out Ethan Hawke of the 5. I think he's done beautiful work here and there, and a lot of it's been on television, and I think he was excellent in Boyhood. I think I thought he was really good in First Reformed, because you could feel that Paul Schrader gave him one piece of direction, which is just putting a lot of it just in voiceover, and as the character's writing in his journal at night, a dark night of the soul after dark night of the soul. But it's the only conspicuously restrained performance he's ever given in his life. And Hawke has talked about this he was on Fresh Air with Terry Gross, talking about how his over eagerness to impress is sort of an albatross, and he has to watch out for it. And I pray that one day he really, really will take care of that last 5-7% too much, because I think
the math again, Michael.
Well, yeah, exactly. I'm just going with what the statisticians say, but he is the movie. He's talking throughout it constantly. He's kind of a compulsive storyteller, and anything to fend off the loneliness and insecurity. And it's a very, very it's a very accomplished and often very touching performance, I think. But it's just, if Linklater is going to shoot that close, you don't need that much. You do not. I don't care. He's right. I don't care. I don't think Larry Hart was necessarily that sort of enormous presence in a room. Even with that talent or that wit or that that much alcohol. I don't think so. And I just think Hawke a little less pal. So I call him pal as well. And
so many pals.
He's out. But no, very good. But that's just my personal something about it a little much. And I know he's aware of it because I heard about it on Terry Gross, Fresh Air, and I thought he's smart enough to know. He knows what he has to work on, and he's working on it probably all the time. But I would probably roll in Lee Byung-hun from No Other Choice. I think he's. Yeah. He's done great work in everything from stuff I don't care about, like Squid Game, to stuff I actually care about. That film sort of just got sidelined by a lot of good work, other work from the international realm, which is kind of a weird way to. I can't get comfortable with that word, guys, with the change in the category. I know it's better than foreign, because foreign is like judgy and patronizing and inherently kind of slightly racist. International is just kind of like, oh yeah, well, it's an international film. It's like, can we just say, is there another way to say that?
We'll have to submit a proposal to the Academy.
Okay. Well, it's an enemy.
In terms of terminology, Michael, I'm just thrown. I'm starting to think of you now just as pal to the stars. Can that be how I refer to you now?
Well, I'll just close on this. Let's just get with the times and just call them. It's an enemy film. It's a film from an enemy country. It's not us. It's so if you're not with us, you're against.
Of course.
There you go.
I would go. No Other Choice is a film I do hope people discover if they haven't seen it. And it's another, and it's one of the very best films from last year that is utterly tonally unpredictable and goes. It's a story that just takes so many swerves. You can't believe that it all stays on the same road to the finish. It's really, really remarkable work. So anyway, and a great performance. So
yeah. Josh.
All right. Best actor should have been nominated for me. Josh O'Connor in Wake Up Dead Man, my favorite performance from a lead actor last year. And I look forward to the day when the Academy wakes up to the wonder of Josh O'Connor. Who should have been kicked out? Man, was this hard. I mean, so hard. Even with slight reservations I had about some of these performances, I completely agree they're among the best of the year. And this is unfair. For me, just being honest, it would probably be Mora, because The Secret Agent is a movie that I did like quite a bit and didn't like it to the degree most people did, which means I need to watch it again. And probably when I did so, Mora would be elevated even higher on this list for me. But where I'm at right now, he's probably the one I'd take out in favor of Josh O'Connor.
It's too bad we can't get more tension here, because Michael is cutting my pick and I'm going to cut Josh's pick, actually, even though I love DiCaprio's performance in One Battle After Another. Yeah,
you're cutting DiCaprio?
Look, this is another case. This is the other category, even though I actually feel stronger about this category than Best Supporting Actor. I think these are the five. This is another category. They got it right.
Okay.
There is no reason to pick anybody else than these five. On my CFCA ballot, I had DiCaprio at 6, and Michael, you know who I had on my list?
Who?
I had Lee Byung-hun for No Other Choice. Okay.
Nice.
So I had a great top 6. Now, I don't think he realistically stood a chance. And like you, Josh, felt even more passionately about how good DiCaprio is after watching it again. So I bumped him up a spot. I think these are the best 5 lead actor performances. I'm great with this list. I don't want to swap anybody in or out. If I had to, DiCaprio, because he was number 6 originally for me, I guess that's why I'm gonna move him out. And I'm with you that it would be Josh O'Connor. It'd be Josh O'Connor as my pick to put in for Wake Up Dead Man, the Knives Out mystery. And I think he is an actor. I mean, look, at the end of the day, it's not going to really make your career or validate you as a performer. Of course, I know we don't feel this way if you ever get Oscar nominations or an Oscar win, but I'd be shocked if Josh O'Connor doesn't end up with multiple Oscar nominations over the course of his career. I think that seems likely. And when I think back, this was easy for me to put him in because I think back to us, doing our rap party and thinking about the movie and the moments that moved us the most. And yes, Rian Johnson had a lot to do with it. Rian Johnson probably had the most to do with it because of his writing and directing with that movie. But they were both moments that Josh O'Connor gave us.
Yeah,
His
that's right.
performance gave us. We can't overlook that. And that performance and that movie, I think I don't know if it's fair to say that they're underappreciated or not, but obviously we felt that it was much more than just the really good mystery that it is. There's a lot of mysteries within that mystery to unpack.
Yeah, I think underappreciated in award circles, which, maybe will come up for me at least a little bit further down the line.
Also, O'Connor's so good in The Mastermind. I mean, my
goodness.
I saw very late, right under the wire for, the first time for the first end of year discussions. And I mean, that's Riker. That's one of Reichert's best. And so it's the perfect actor for that material and for her way of just sort of sitting with and slowly burrowing into a character. Yeah, he's great.
And
He's
just
really
doing
good.
something completely different than what's happening in Wake Up Dead Man.
Yeah.
And the Oscar goes to Mikey Madison.
We have lead actress now. I don't know if we really need to even weigh in on who will win. Jessie Buckley is first up because she has a B in her name, and it comes before Byrne. For Hamnet, Rose Byrne, If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. Kate Hudson, Song Sung Blue. Renata Reinsva, Sentimental Value. And Emma Stone for Bugonia. Maybe we can just get this out of the way. Do we all agree that if Buckley doesn't win this, it would be the shock of all shocks?
The shock of the night, for sure.
Yeah,
I agree. And also, for what it's worth, unanimous in Copenhagen.
Okay, well then,
oh wow,
the Copenhagen doctrine, they spoke, and
this is
there's
no
questioning that.
This is going to become an increasingly
the Copenhagen Accords.
Yeah, this is going to be an increasingly important historical group you've established there,
That's
Josh.
right.
This is great.
You better believe it.
I think about the fact that of course the movie too is a Best Picture nominee. Chloe Zhao got a nomination. The cross branches, the support that it's gotten, that all points to, of course, the win, but also the adulation. I mean, of course, all these performances that are nominated, co-stars and directors and people in the industry are going to speak highly of a performance. But I don't know that I have seen so many people, not even associated with the movie, speak as highly of a performer and a performance as I have with Jessie Buckley and Hamnet. Other actresses and actors who are really good, who I really respect and seem like they're at the top of their craft, seem genuinely in awe of the work Jessie Buckley is doing in Hamnet. And I'm going to, I suppose, take them at their word.
Yeah. So we all have that she should win as well.
I have that she should. Michael,
you
do you
Michael?
disagree?
I do.
I do. And it's so reluctant because I have wildly mixed feelings about that film. But I don't have wildly mixed feelings about what she does to make me just sideline my wildly mixed feelings. I just appreciate what she's up to. It's not her fault. She has to kind of do that particular kind of roundelay of grief and anguish. The way it's treated, it couldn't be more authentic from a performance point of view, and for me, could have been handled a different way, even with the same. And there's something about the film that I have yet to locate exactly why I resisted some of it. It just felt a little like it was discreetly assaultive in terms of its, it's kind of full bore, go for the throat pathos. And I mean, that's not Chloe Zhao by temperament, but somehow. I mean, this is just stupid, kind of like maybe patronizing guesswork, but it's like the minute I saw Spielberg and Sam Mendes come up as on the opening credits as executive producers, I thought, uh-oh. In the same way that Spielberg's best work wasn't The Color Purple, that Sam Mendes has done very slick work sometimes adapting, sometimes not, in emotional human drama, right? That just feels a little engineered to me, and there's something about it. But not Jessie Buckley, man. I mean, she is the last 12, 15 movies she's made. She has been, a reason enough to go. And yeah, I think it's will and should.
Okay. Then who would you have nominated instead in this category if you could have, Michael, and who would you cut?
Jesse Buck. No, I wouldn't. I really like Kate Hudson in Song Sung Blue. I
do
don't
too.
like the movie. Don't love the movie, but she's
good.
She's good, and but out you go. And to make room for the very unlikely to be nominated, but I've already touted her publicly in other reasons. I just I saw One of Them Days, and Keke Palmer just in there.
There you go.
Moving
There
in
you
like
go.
a pro, a comic pro who knows how to just like propel and sort of push a scene in the best way. She works like a tiger, and it's not just about size of performance or like the willingness to go big or whatever. She just has a great ear for how a scene's rhythm should sort of like go. And even when the director is kind of struggling to keep up with her, it's just a moderately well-made film at best. But Keke Palmer's like grade A. Of course, comedy never gets, just a kind of a zingy, unpretentious comedy. It doesn't get props from the Academy much, but it's Keke Palmer.
Yeah, I mean, that was Michael. That's who I had as should have been nominated. She was on my CFCA ballot. One of Them Days was on my top 10 films. I mean, I think it's a better film than you described. Top 10 films of the year.
Whoa.
But it's so unrealistic. It's not my official pick. I'm afraid.
You mean no chance in hell, you mean?
No chance with the Academy. Again, this has changed in recent years.
Why are you such a realist?
I know.
There? Yeah, what's
and I want to be fair. I was about to say, what are the chances any Academy Award voter saw One of Them Days? But I will retract that and say, in recent years, I bet that has changed, and a lot of them have. But I still don't think we're at a point where a comic performance, even with some very serious dramatic layers to it, which I think Keke Palmer brings, is going to be recognized for the Oscars. So, there are other less Academy-friendly performances on my ballot, like Ava Victor for the Golden Brick winning Sorry Baby.
Excellent.
I don't think that would ever happen. So what I'm actually going to go with is one I was surprised to not see happen, which was Tessa Thompson for Hedda.
That's my pick too, Josh.
Yeah,
and I thought it might be yours, Michael.
It seems
I know.
like...
I mean, that's on my top 5 for the year. So as a film, let's hear it, Josh.
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, that's where you should have gone. I just think it's similar. The way you describe Michael B. Jordan's performance in Sinners, Michael, I feel is how I felt here. Is like, it's really good. And there's like that shading or 10% of something that would have put it on my ballot of top 5 rather than say top 8, which is where she landed. So yes, she should have been nominated. I would have been fine with that. And I would have kicked out, Emma Stone. Speaking of petitions to the Academy, I'm waiting to hear back on my petition that Stone Lanthimos, there's a temporary ban, let's say 5 years, and we can get back to them after that point. But haven't heard back. I'll let you know.
Yeah, I would co-sign, and that will come up later, but it doesn't come up in this category. As I said, Tessa Thompson for Hedda, I that was in my top 5, a remarkable performance, and that would be in, for me, hard to decide which one of these I would kick out. And it's tempting to go with Emma Stone, Josh, because I'm not a fan of Begonia. I am actually going to go with Rose Byrne, and it's not because I don't like the performance, and I don't think Rose Byrne is very good. Okay, again, I'm having to pick between the 5, but I think of all of those performances, the movie's a bit oppressive, and the performance then also takes on that quality. It has to, right? But if I'm weighing, for example, actually what Kate Hudson does in Song Sung Blue versus what Rose Byrne does in If I Had Legs, there's a part of me that actually appreciates a little bit more Hudson having to balance the kind of wild swings, emotional, melodramatic moments of that movie and not make them feel like that, like making that character feel like a real human being. That impresses me almost a little bit more than the heaviness that Rose Byrne has to bring, but brings to that character. And If I Had Legs. So that's my best explanation for why I'm kicking her out. There's not really a good explanation.
And the Oscar goes to Nora Sean Baker.
We go to director, and we have Hamnet. Chloe Zhao is the director. Josh Safdie for Marty Supreme. PTA, One Battle After Another. Joachim Trier, Sentimental Value. Ryan Coogler for Sinners. Michael, do you have a pick for who will win, and is it the same director who you think should win?
It is Paul Thomas Anderson, and so not a lot need be said except that when a film of his comes along that I like less than the ones I really love, it tends to be all about what I might have questions about in the writing, whether it's an original screenplay of his or, in a couple cases, adaptations. Twice on Pynchon, and very loosely with this one, which is a very good move, just like There Will Be Blood is an adaptation in a loose sense, in that they're just using a bit of the original novel Oil. And here, they're using a bit more of Vineland, the source material for One Battle. But I think Paul Thomas Anderson is a truly inspired visual master, and his directing instincts are often a little ahead of his writing. And I think he's actually a director who would profit from just not writing from directing somebody else's scripts for a little bit, for part of his career. And just, I mean, he's every film he's made, it's got shots that I would see it again just for that 8 seconds or minute and a half or whatever. But One Battle is one of his best screenplays, and this is certainly one of his 2 or 3 best directorial sort of like resume toppers. I love it. Good work. I mean, what can you say?
Okay.
It was the easiest movie to see twice in a hurry last year, especially when the second time was on 70 millimeter film at the Music Box.
Wow. Yeah.
Here in Chicago.
Yeah, I'm with you, Michael. 14 nominations for Paul Thomas Anderson across various categories, 0 wins. It's time. Who should win? Paul Thomas Anderson. It's time. Yeah. And his work on One Battle, I think, deserves it. So I'm with you.
Okay. Well, we are all aligned, though obviously, or it seems obvious anyway, that the who will win battle, I mean, it is going to be a battle between PTA and Coogler. Coogler very clearly could win this.
He could.
Because of
for sure.
the strength of Sinners, the 16 nominations to, I believe, One Battle's 13. They have similar profiles in terms of the categories that they're being nominated in, and how they're both filmmakers who are also writers on that film. And of course, interesting even just that they're coming from the same studio, right? In this case, this year, all those things together, just it seems like it obviously is coming down to these 2 movies, and I think it's going to be those 2 directors. And could it be a case where, because this filmmaker, the one we're talking about, may not be the one who wins Best Picture, is Best Director going to be his primary consolation prize? Perhaps. I think PTA will win. I do think that PTA should also win. And I think about, again, Josh, our fairly recent Sacred Cow discussion of that film, where we noted that it ended up being maybe the longest review we've ever had in the history of the show, which we didn't plan. It just ended up being like a 70 or 80 minute conversation about that film. And how much of that, what percentage of that time, I was looking back through my notes, it had to be at least 3/4 of that runtime was spent talking about the choices PTA made as a filmmaker. It wasn't about, yes, we did talk about the politics. We talked about its relevance, the timeliness, things that matter to us personally. That was part of it, but it wasn't the brunt of the conversation. We talked about the filmmaking. We talked about what PTA was doing as a director. So for me, it's a no-brainer that it is, because even though I like a lot of the films that are nominated for Best Picture, and I like the films that are nominated in this category, 4 of them in particular, quite a bit, I still think that One Battle is the best of the bunch by far. Michael, what film would you like to have put in place instead of one of these? And I think it's fair to say that you would kick out Hamnet.
Well, we're not We're talking about the director, right? We're
Oh, yeah.
direct.
So Chloe is where I was going. You would kick out
no,
Chloe
I got
Zhao's
you.
Hamlet.
I know. Maybe Chloe Zhao, or Joachim Trier, maybe in a way. I mean, his work is excellent, and her work is all right. Chloe Zhao goes out there, but I don't. If somebody made the #1 film of a certain year, not too many years ago, for me, and that was Chloe Zhao and The Rider, I can't kick that director off a list under your stupid premise that we have to lose somebody.
Everybody's human.
All right.
Ups and downs, Michael.
All right, then. All right, Joachim Trier, Enemy Country, go home. That's it. He's out.
Sure.
And this is a tight one, man. And yes, would it have ever happened realistic in Josh's realm of realism for some reason? They would never do that. Well, yeah, no, the Academy wouldn't have nominated Nia DaCosta as Best Director for Hedda, but for me.
Yeah,
I mean, it's one of the very best stage to screen adaptations I've ever seen. I think I've always thought her work was sharp and very interesting and character driven, and also visually, quite beautiful. This is a new fluidity for her in Hedda, movement, kind of activating all these different sort of like subterranean. All this sort of secrecy and gossip in this going on within this sort of 1930s manor house and all in her adaptation of Ibsen's Hedda Gabler. So Nia DaCosta. On the other hand, if I had to do another tie, it'd be Kelly Reichardt in The Mastermind. So, Kelly Reichardt, so good. And this is one of her best films. So that's my second tie.
DaCosta, obviously unrealistic to an extent, but not shockingly so. Like
I could see it happening.
That film was in conversations around award season. So I like.
And also, it did have everywhere from geographically. Amy Nicholson at the LA Times loved it. Richard Brody at the New Yorker, a huge champion, and so it has its. Yes. It has its not just defenders, but like passionate champions, and I'd like to think I'm one of them. So it's great work.
Yeah, DaCosta and Reichert, both good substitutes, Michael, which I considered. I'm actually going, who should have been nominated for Best Director? I'm going to go with Zach Krager for Weapons. I mean, if Amy Madigan got a nod, why not her director? The precision and the control behind the camera in that movie. And the way, if you saw that movie with a packed theater, you were in the palm of its hand. There's a lot of factors at work there. Absolutely, the director is one of them. So that's who I think should have been nominated. And man, kicking out, this is a really hard one. Unlike you, Michael, I'm a bit more on board with what Zhao is doing as a director in Hamnet. It didn't make my top 10, so it's not, at that level for me, but I don't have as many quibbles with it. So I don't think I'm going to go that way. I guess Safdie for Marty Supreme. And that's only because, if I'm looking at this category, the best director in the movies represented, I'd probably rank Marty Supreme the lowest. So that's the logic I'm leaning on for removing him, even though it's, also a movie that keeps you in the palm of its hand, and the director, Safdie, deserves credit for that.
I love The Writer too, Michael. I think it's a masterpiece. I'm not as high on Nomadland, but that's not factoring into my thought process here at all. The simple fact of the matter is that Hamnet is, using your logic, Josh, and that's usually what I go by here with Best Director, Hamnet is my least favorite film of these 5, and by quite a distance. Now, I feel more preferential towards it than you do, Michael, by a little bit. I don't like it nearly as much as you do, Josh. So it's pretty easy for me against these other 4 to remove it, even though, again, you're right. The Writer is an incredible film, and I think Zhao's obviously a very talented filmmaker. It's out, though, and I think the film that I would put in its place, the director I would put in its place, I would just kind of follow the logic here of some of the other nominations. I'm going for realism, but it's not just realism. I'm going for the film, another film that I actually loved, that I had in my top 10, and that has been recognized in at least one other major category, deservedly so, that we've touched on. I would have put in, instead of Chloe Zhao, Kleiber, Mendonça, Filio for The Secret Agent.
Secret Agent. Very good.
If it's going to get a Best Picture nomination, right? If Wagner Moura is going to get the Best Actor nomination, why not go ahead and also put him in for Best Director? And I do think that film is a significantly better one than Hamnet. So that's a pretty easy choice for me to make in this case.
That is good.
And the Oscar goes to? Are they playing us off?
No. Well, maybe. Honora.
That brings us to, finally, Best Picture. We have 9 films in alphabetical order. Bugonia, F1, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle, The Secret Agent, Sentimental Value, Sinners, and Train Dreams. We
Actually,
probably don't
10 films.
10. Oh,
yes.
You're right. I'm sorry.
Full on.
It is 10.
They went as high as they could go. You got 10
they went
films.
10. I don't know where I had 9. They went 10. I don't think we need to belabor the fact that we all think One Battle After Another should be the Best Picture. Do we all think, however, that it's actually going to be Sinners that wins it or not?
Where are you at, Michael?
Yes. I think it's going to be, I think it's will and should. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I got to say, I struggled a moment there.
Again, you're confounding me.
On the should.
It's your number 1 film of the year, but
I know.
it's not
I
the
can't,
Best
but
Picture. Okay.
I love this, I see these things twice, and, I love The Secret Agent. I really do. And I like that's the great reason for working in the director, because it's somebody directed it and wrote it. But yes, no, I think One Battle, in recent years, I've given up the idea that you can't have substantial reservations about a film you love. I don't know why. I might have been fussy about that when I was younger, and I think a lot of the stuff I've liked the best in recent years has been sort of the not just the most ambitious and not just arguably messy, but just sort of some substantial misjudgments within it. Nonetheless, One Battle has all that for me, but it also has so much in it that again, it was I happily saw that twice in the same week, and just to kind of see what I missed, or I couldn't wait to see certain things again, or moments between actors, and just how it all came together. So yeah, will PTA, One Battle.
You don't think it's Sinners. Okay, so Josh, what do you think?
Yeah, so this One Battle versus Sinners question is fascinating to me, and I think it's really a question of how political the Academy actually wants to get, which is a thorny question, because let me be absolutely clear, Sinners is political. It's inherently political what it's addressing, but it's sort of political within the safeness of the past and the safeness of history. Again, even though the dynamics it explores are still at play today and relevant today. So I don't mean to imply that at all. One Battle After Another, however, is political. It was political when it came out. It's political now. And unfortunately, it's going to be political for the near future. So it is the more dangerous pick in a way, which seems ridiculous, but this is where we are. Also, I think it's worth pointing out, which Michael did at our Copenhagen group, that the Academy doesn't generally like horror. And Sinners definitely takes a severe turn towards horror at the end. That might be worth considering here. So at the end of our deliberations with all of this, we did say One Battle After Another is going to win, with a hesitation that there could be a classic director picture split here, right? I think you alluded to this already, Adam. Paul Thomas Anderson getting director, and Sinners getting picture. I can clearly see that happening, but official pick is going to be One Battle. Should win. Yeah. One Battle. You said it, Adam, my favorite movie of the year. The Academy anointing it right now, it's not going to change anything about our political reality. Let's be honest about that. But I think it will plant a historical flag that I do think is important to have this movie win Best Picture in 2026, looking back 10, 20 years from now. I think that would be important. So that's the movie I think should win Best Picture.
I think I might actually argue that Sinners would be equally, if not more, dangerous, not dangerous, but like a path-breaking selection, just because of the fact that it is such a complicated embrace of Black life and culture in 20th century America and 21st.
Yeah.
I think there's something to that, and the my uneasiness about three middle-aged white guys sitting around talking about the issue of whether or not, and I've read an awful lot of good debate, really thoughtful and excellent, sort of necessary debate about whether or not One Battle and PTA are not together, are they fetishizing Black women sort of in a way that actually feeds in a little bit to the Colonel Lockjaw point of view? Is it enough to have hired and written a half a dozen, not just decent, but juicy roles for excellent Black female performers when the perspective has struck many different people in many different countries, and not just Black women writing, but all kinds, as like a little off or a lot off. So it's something to consider. I think the second time through, I only saw it twice in a quick lump, and then I've been reading all this stuff since, and it's been a good thing to kind of check yourself on. So anyway, Sinners would have been a different kind of risk for the Academy if it wins, and I'm frankly great either way with it, even if I happen to prefer One Battle in many ways. So so
I think those are all obviously fair questions to consider and entertain, and we did that in our second look at One Battle After Another. We addressed some of those, and I'd agree with you, Michael, in the sense that I don't know, yes, to your point, white guy speaking here, I don't know that Black History Month ever felt as vital in the last 5 years as it did in 2025 and again recently in 2026. This is something we need to fight for in the United States of America, that Black History Month is a thing. So I don't say that lightly to say that Sinners is a safer political choice. I only mean it in that it is a fictional historical setting.
The distance
the distance allows voters to go that direction when you have, and actually the issues you raise, Michael, are part of the point of why One Battle is more dangerous. Is it is a movie that's, throwing at us a lot of things in a lot of different ways that need to be reconciled. And I don't mean to say it's more political to mean it's more perfect necessarily. But it's more challenging and more disturbing. And if Academy voters of any persuasion feel that and still vote for it, I feel like that's actually saying something. Here's a succinct way to say it. I can see Sinners winning Best Picture 5 to 10 years ago. I can't imagine One Battle After Another being made or needed to be made 5 or 10 years ago. And within that context, for it to win, I think says something different. So we'll see what happens.
What about Sinners, though, as a challenge, just in terms of the business side of Hollywood? And I want to be clear, this is the part of the movie commentary industry that we're in that I don't really pay attention to and know very little about. But I have the headlines in front of me. I do remember seeing them, like from Vulture in April. Hollywood execs fear Ryan Coogler's Sinners deal could end the studio system. Is this a case where Hollywood is embracing the thing that is actually sort of destroying them, or that is actually negative for them in some ways, but in the end they're gonna go against it because they actually see it as too much of a subversion of the status quo that they want to maintain some way?
Meaning not just the film you made, but Coogler's deal, which is
I'm talking about everything about the actual process of how it was made exactly, and Coogler's power.
Yeah,
basically.
That's the final cut, the
Yes.
budget, and look, everything interesting about Sinners was absolutely cemented by whatever contract. I'm sure you could dramatize the contract negotiations, but there's whole scenes you could pick out that no studio most studio heads would have said, no, we don't have time or money for a 4 or 5 minute fantasia that sort of deals with sort of, the generational power of black music, and we'll have, that dance sort of fantasy sequence in the club, right? I mean, but I've seen that film with a student audience at the University of Illinois, and there were people coming out of that saying, I've never seen a scene like that in my life. I love it. And it's, yes, it's why it's the one thing it has in common with One Battle, I think. It's the film made with rare freedom, and actually of the two, Sinners is the one that made a little money. It wasn't a huge hit, but it was a hit. And, to the degree any of the money matters as we're talking about, One Battle lost about $100 million in the end.
Right.
It's a lot.
Yeah. A lot of elements to this conversation. I ultimately do think Sinners is going to win. I'm going Sinners. I think the 16 nominations, I think, obviously the breadth of the categories it's nominated in, and those specific categories, the precursor awards that it's won at this juncture, Critics' Choice, the BAFTA, the fact that I think I saw this on IMDb. More math for you, Michael. You'll appreciate this. You don't actually have to do any calculations. According to IMDb, across global critics groups and guilds, Sinners is in the top spot with 310 wins and 494 total nominations. Now, that may or may not factor into the Academy's ultimate voting, but it feels like it's a juggernaut, and I think it's Sinners' year.
So for you, it's Sinners will, and
yes.
One Battle should?
Should, yeah. One Battle's my favorite film of the bunch, absolutely, but I think Sinners will. I don't think it's going to be hard for us. I don't want to presume too much here, Michael, but I don't think it's going to be too difficult to find one or two movies that we'd like to kick out. I definitely want to hear what you would have preferred to nominate instead. So give us both.
Well, F1, whatever. So out you go, I don't hate it.
Right.
Look, in kindergarten, I was there front row watching Grand Prix with James Garner, and I got an eye infection that kept me home from school for a week. So not only did I get the racing scenes I wanted, I got a week off school.
The movie was that bad.
No.
Give you an eye infection.
Hey, man, John Frankenheimer and that split screen, that'll change your life at age 5.
I bet.
So anyway, F1, I like the racing scenes fine, but no, out you go. I would put in Hedda, absolutely. Honorable mention on that, Weapons, because I just love the success of it. I love the fact that that's a movie that Jordan Peele, who's been writing his own stuff, was dying. They bid the moon for that film, and he got aced out. So there's something about that thing that just kind of plain works. And the fact that it turns into this nutty, after this dour, solemn, really kind of grim premise, and then you get just this little tiny burst of zombie slapstick at the end that actually works, and you just can't believe it's all working. So yes, run over there, but I'd throw Hedda in there instead of F1 because they're so similar.
Yeah, it's true. It's true, Michael. Yeah. I think the only other Academy-friendly movie that was on my top 10 list, which did include Weapons, Michael, so maybe I should have given that some thoughts, but for me, it seemed to be possibly Wake Up Dead Man. But Knives Out, Glass Onion, they only got screenplay nods. Maybe that ship has sailed. But again, that puts Rian Johnson's mystery series in the Oscar conversation. So not unthinkable that Wake Up Dead Man could have gotten a nomination. I would have liked to have seen that. And yeah, F1, man, what a chore. I can't even defend the racing scenes. I felt like I was binging an 8-episode Netflix series about Formula One in one sitting. And beyond that, I had to sit through a smug Brad Pitt performance, which I never find myself sitting through. I'm generally more appreciative of his on-screen presence than not. And this one was a rough go. So I'm with you. F1 out.
I'm not going F1, even though I don't love F1 by any stretch. But while I can say that the movie I'm about to mention is a greater artistic endeavor, it's striving for something greater than F1 is, which is mere entertainment, Josh and Michael. Name of my next podcast, Mirror Entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
But it's successful as Mirror Entertainment. And this is what you said earlier. I'm ready right now, I think, to put the moratorium on Lanthimos nominations. Okay. Begonia is not a movie I feel like I need to wrestle with again. I'm good. I'm good. I don't think it deserved a nomination. I know it is dealing with some big topics. I think we had a perfectly reasonable, hopefully intelligent discussion about the film. I'm not saying it's a film that you write off completely. It doesn't deserve some significant consideration. And I actually think Emma Stone is very good in it. And I certainly think that Jesse Plemons is very good in that film. But it is the one of these 10 that I would kick out. And the film I would put in, pretty easy for me, it would be the film that I actually had just above One Battle After Another on my end of year top 10. It would be Jafar Panahi's It Was Just an Accident, which is not actually that much of a stretch when you consider that I do know that Variety had it on its list of best picture contenders, like in the top 10 all year after it came out. It was a possibility, but beyond that, it did get the original screenplay nomination for Panahi, and it did get the international feature nomination. So there was a chance.
Yeah, well,
maybe
and if
not
something
a
like
huge
The Secret
chance,
Agent,
but it was a chance.
If The Secret Agent got Best Picture, why not?
Right.
It Was Just an Accident. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it might have. When you knew there were 10 slots, I thought It Was Just an Accident could be there. So it wasn't there, and it's the one that I would put in, certainly in place of Begonia, also in place of F1. There's no doubt about that. But if I had to pick one, I would go Begonia. So those are our Oscar picks. I am sure that we did not help you at all in finishing up your Oscar ballots, but we certainly had a lot of fun doing it. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to share how our listeners put together their Oscar ballots. We gave them over at filmspotting.net a survey where they had all 10 films and they could rank those films. And then Josh, that produced a weighted rank where the lowest number then means the winner. Who's ever closest to one, right, is the top film. So is it going to be Sinners here? Is it going to be One Battle here? You do the honors. How did the listeners' ranked choice best picture vote come out?
I'm all a tingle.
Yeah.
I bet you are.
And to be clear, this is the should win category. This is who they want to win.
Okay.
And they don't want F1 to win. It was in last place. Frankenstein came next, then Begonia. We have a batch together of closer scores, I'll just say without giving you all the math, but this group includes The Secret Agent, then Hamnet, then Train Dreams, then Sentimental Value. The next tier here that listeners voted for, that included Marty Supreme, and so this leaves us with the two big pictures, Sinners and One Battle After Another. According to Filmspotting listeners, the Oscar this year for Best Picture should go to One Battle After Another. Sinners came in second place. Adam, you know the math better than me, how this actually works. This totally blows my mind, the ranking and the categories. Maybe you can give us a sense of how close this actually was.
Well, I thought it would be closer than it is, let me put it that way, because One Battle After Another's weighted rank was 1.98. So we could just call it 2. Sinners was 3.43. So that is a pretty healthy jump. After that, Marty Supreme was 4.67. Then we're in the 5s. F1's at 8.88. So I am a little bit surprised, actually, that One Battle and Sinners weren't maybe more somewhere within that 2 ranking together, within a point of each other. Whereas right now they're about 1.5 points separated, but they still are clearly the 2 choices that separated themselves from all of the others. And that makes sense. That's how we would have expected it to go.
Yep.
Okay. We thank everyone who voted in that poll. And we do remind you, as always, you can find all of our picks, as you can with all of our top 5 lists for this Oscars show. You can find all of them over at filmspotting.net. Just click on lists right there at the top of the page. Michael, do you have any grand plans for the Oscars this year?
Well, I'm not nominated, so what the hell do I care? But no, I think I'm going to go over to Copenhagen. It sounds like a fun group. I think I'll head over there and keep it going. What do you think, Josh? Can you hook me up or?
Yeah, go to Haven, HAVN, and that is an incredible array of beer on tap. Like 12 options. I think between the 5, 6 of us, we sampled at least 8 of them. And yeah, I would say check it out. I'm actually still here in St. Andrews, Scotland. This will be the first time I don't watch the Oscars live. I'm sure there's a time I missed it in my life, but I can't remember it. So,
oh wow.
Well, I'll wake up to the results.
You're not very devoted, Josh. What? You need your sleep more than the Oscars live?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm not staying up for the NBA, Adam, over here, I'm not staying up for the Oscars. Sorry.
Okay. Okay. Michael, it was a pleasure. I hope you enjoyed yourself.
Yes, just to make sure to delete all extraneous opinions. It'll be like a 4 or 5 second appearance this year. So
yeah, I was going to say it's a short show.
Yeah, short show.
What are you going to do?
As always, Michael, obviously you've never heard a show that you've actually been on.
No.
I
have heard them. I occasionally actually listen through them, all the way to the bitter end,
Where can our listeners find more about you, Michael?
Well, the most interesting thing about me is that I'm over on WFMT now as a straight announcer on the classical music station here in Chicago, the classical WFMT. I do, I got some shifts over there, and it is a real pleasure to just actually tee up a bunch of great music, some of which I know, some of which I'm getting to know. And, in addition to doing the weekly film music program, Soundtrack, which I introduce every Saturday at 9 a.m. But you can catch all this stuff online at WFMT.com. So that's something I want to do. And I'm writing here and there. I write for the San Francisco Chronicle a bit. I've done a few things for RogerEbert.com. But, I like this new shift, and it's nice to talk to you guys. And this podcasting game is, I think it's going to catch on, and I think I may, who knows, I may look into it in a larger way at some point.
Yeah, like to hear your voice some more. Thank you as always, Michael.
Thanks, Michael.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Adam, let's thank a couple of Filmspotting family members, those folks who support the show and help us to keep doing what we're doing. We want to thank a couple of Family Plus members, actually, this week. Tori Lightcap in Topeka and Kurt Hansman in LaGrange, Illinois. I want to say I met both Tori and Kurt at the Cinema Interruptus Phantom Thread event a while back. If I have the wrong Kurt, I apologize, Kurt, but I think that's you. At any rate, Kurt is a longtime listener, came to the show via word of mouth. Early-ish episodes that Kurt remembers: Atonement, Zero Dark 30, The Road, and Winter's Bone. As for Tori said he was searching for film podcasts while working in the yard during the pandemic, July 2021. Landed on the Wong Kar-wai Marathon and suddenly needed to know everything about it.
Tori's favorite episode, The Godfather at 50. That was a good one, episode 859. He says, it was a cool new set of lenses for seeing things I'd been taking for granted for too long. Movies they credit with making them cinephiles. Kurt says The Seven Samurai and Alan Pakula's The Sterile Cuckoo from 1969. I think it's possible Kurt's just messing with us. Did he just make that up? Was that like Mad Libs?
I couldn't tell you.
I am not familiar with that movie. I love it when our listeners pull out movies I've actually never even heard of. Tori says something I am familiar with, a movie that's actually been discussed on this show. I saw Shadow of a Doubt in a college film course and realized there was a lot going on there. Indeed.
How about favorite books about movies or movie making? For Kurt, it's Seymour Chapman's What Novels Can Do That Films Can't, and vice versa. Also, V.F. Perkins' Film as Film. Tori recommended Final Cut, Art, Money, and Ego in the Making of Heaven's Gate, the film that sank United Artists, by Stephen Bach.
I've always wanted to read that Heaven's Gate book. Thank you, Tori and Kurt, for being Family Plus members and for all of those years of listening. You can follow Tori on Letterboxd at Lightcap. Kurt is at Kurt Runs, all one word. In addition to keeping us doing what we're doing, membership does come with perks. You get to listen early. You get to listen ad-free. You get our weekly newsletter. You get exclusive opportunities like being part of the Filmspotting Family Discord. You get monthly bonus shows. early opportunities or exclusive opportunities, how about participating in trivia spotting like you could do coming up Thursday night, March 19th? We'll put a link in this show, at least the episode that's going to our family members, Josh, because it is an exclusive opportunity just for our family members. We look forward to seeing many of them on the 19th. And if you're interested in more information about joining the family, you can find it at filmspottingfamily.com. We always do like to mention that there is another way you can support the show, and that's just giving us a rating or a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. I think we're a 4.9 on Spotify, Josh, which
not bad.
I'll take it. I'll take it. You know, perfection is hard to attain these days. So
this is true.
Maybe you can help us get even closer, if there is such a thing, to that 5.0. Every new review and rating does hopefully help us reach new listeners.
Vern, there's something on your neck. Yeah, right. I'm not falling for that one a chance. No, Vern, there is something on your neck. It's a leech. Leeches! Oh, my God!
Now, Josh, producer Sam, appropriately, wants me to say here, I never had any friends later on like the ones I had when I was 12. Does anyone? And it's a great sentiment. But you know what? I may be just exceptionally lucky. I still talk to and often hang out with the guys I was friends with when I was 12.
I mean, isn't that how it goes in Iowa? That's just
maybe so.
That's just the way.
There you go. It's a small town thing.
I wish I could say the same. Josh Rigor, wherever you are, if you're out there listening to this, hello, it's been too long. Probably, at least 10 years since we've run into each other. But I think the sentiment stands. Yeah, that's any friendship at that time is a very special one.
That's absolutely true. Next week, we'll give Rob Reiner's Stand By Me the Sacred Cow treatment. It turns 40 this year. We're going to pay tribute to Rob Reiner. And that film returns to theaters for a limited engagement later this month. What is your history with this movie, Josh? Is it a film you've seen more than once?
Oh, man. Yeah, I've seen it more than once. When did I first see it? It's fuzzy. And I just texted my dad asking this because, 12 years old, speaking of that age, that's for me when it came out.
Yeah.
But Stand By Me, rated R at the time. And I wasn't, going to see a lot of rated R movies with my parents' permission. At 12, he said, pretty sure he took me, that he didn't really start coming down hard on the ratings for me until, I was dating in Silence of the Lambs, and longtime listeners know that story.
Yeah.
So maybe I saw it in theaters with my dad. It sounds like that was the case.
Okay. I think I had just turned 11 when it came out, and I do remember seeing it in my small town Iowa movie theater. End of summer, and it's an end of summer movie, right? Or feels that way as they're going back to school. This last mournful hurrah for these boys, and I don't remember who I saw it with. It was not my father. It was not a parent. I don't know how we snuck in or how they let us in. They weren't checking IDs, I guess, too carefully there, Josh, or too rigorously. I remember seeing it with some friends and being really moved by it. I don't know that I have seen, it's one of those films, I don't think I have seen Stand By Me from start to finish since 1986. I think it's just been one of those films, It comes on TV every now and again over the past 40 years or however many years it's been. And I have seen parts of it and I've enjoyed parts of it, but I haven't taken it in. And so, yes, it will be fun to revisit this film. We also did want to give you an update. We had planned, and we had, I think, promised, or certainly at least teased, that we were going to talk about The Bride this week. Didn't work out for your schedule, trying to see that in Scotland this week and with some of your travel. Just didn't end up working out with my schedule, even though it was playing in multiple theaters near me, where I'm located. We're going to see it. We're both eager to see it. And at some point, we're going to talk about it, whether it's been out for a couple weeks or not. I promise that I think it's a film, or let me say this. I promise that we're going to give it a few minutes. I know we both think it's a movie that deserves a few minutes, and that's not based on knowing really much about it at all, other than that we want to see it and give Maggie Gyllenhaal's film its due.
Yeah, and it's coming my way here around St. Andrews this weekend, so I'm definitely going to be catching up with it. And yeah, looking forward to talking about it with you at some point in the near future.
Back to Rob Reiner. Next week, we will also have results from our Rob Reiner poll. We have been asking you to choose one and only one 80s Rob Reiner movie. Very tough when you've got the likes of This Is Spinal Tap, Stand By Me, The Princess Bride, or When Harry Met Sally. You can only pick one. If you could only pick one of these to watch for the rest of your life, and all the other ones, they're gone. They're in the incinerator, Josh. Which one do you pick? Results so far show that there is a definitive winner. It's not running away with it, but there is a definitive winner. Based on the poll comments, though, that certainly doesn't account for. The metrics don't account for how difficult the decision seems to be.
Yeah, I believe that. Can I guess? And
you can.
You tell me if I'm right or wrong, or are you afraid that might skew votes from here on out?
No, let's do it.
Okay. Princess Bride. I think Princess Bride is the definitive winner
so
at this
far.
point.
Yep.
Okay.
It's
all right.
It's definitely looking like The Princess Bride may take it, but your voice can still be heard at filmspotting.net. Vote in that poll and leave a comment there. And if you'd also like to check out what we have planned for future episodes, go to filmspotting.net and click on episodes right there at the top of the page.
If you're looking for more Oscars talk on the eve of the ceremony, we have it for you. Actually, our sister podcast, The Next Picture Show, has it for you. It is there. If we picked the Oscar winners episode. Now, this just came out for me today, so I haven't had a chance to dig in. I understand, though, it's a debate towards consensus where they're trying to come together, the four of them, over who they think should win. So there should be some good back and forth there among Keith, Scott, Tasha, and Genevieve. New episodes of The Next Picture Show drop every Tuesday, and you can find them wherever you get your podcasts. Time now for Massacre Theater, or at least a Massacre Theater winner. This is where Adam and I perform a scene, and you get a chance to win a Film Spotting prize. Last time we massacred this scene.
Can you sing me a 6 there?
Could you sing a 6?
Everybody gotta sing. Everybody's gotta sing. I can sing. We're the starting at 1, 2, 3. Oh, what? Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you have a problem in the bridge?
No, I was gonna. Can I switch? Can I change out of my costume?
Costume? Are you hot?
Yeah, but also, I mean, I've been wearing it for a month.
You know the policy. We all gotta wear the uniform until we're ready to take it off. I think you're real close. I just don't think you're quite there yet. I mean, you did not sing that 6, then I want to see you sing that 6.
That was John Michael Higgins and Christopher Moynihan in 2003's A Mighty Wind, written by Christopher Guest and Eugene Levy, directed by Guest. Our massacre of that scene was part of our Top 5 Catherine O'Hara Characters Tribute. There's always a tie-in, so why that scene from A Mighty Wind?
One of our more obvious tie-ins, perhaps Jack in St. Cloud, Minnesota writes, "It's a mighty win. I just recently caught up with this one in the wake of O'Hara's passing and absolutely loved it. And while O'Hara is the heart and soul of the movie, I personally found John Michael Higgins to be the funniest player involved. The clear connection to this massacre is Catherine O'Hara, to whom you devoted a wonderful Top 5 character segment." And I'm starting to laugh only because Jack in St. Cloud, Minnesota might be right about John Michael Higgins. I did just rewatch A Mighty Wind, ironically, just after we prepared for and recorded and published this show. You can check out my log on Letterboxd and my short review there. And what actually might be my favorite, funniest bit in the movie, like I'm dying just thinking about it right now, is when Jane Lynch, his wife, is talking to the camera about her whole colors thing. You know, the mysticism around the colors. And Guest, who's so good at this, right? In so many of his films, they'll get that moment where the camera captures the other character in a scene who we believe is bought into whatever their partner is selling and acts like they're bought in wholeheartedly, but the facade cracks just for a second. And there's a cut to a close-up where you just see the terror in John Michael Higgins' eyes. Like the way he shows that terror, like, I can't believe what she is spouting. I can't believe that this is my life. I want to run out of here so fast. Everything he conveys just with that like 2-second close-up is the best.
Yeah, and they have to play that right, too. It can't be wide eyes from the beginning. It has to be, as you described it, a slow crack.
sudden. Yes, it just kind of, it builds to it. You're right.
Uh-huh. All right, we also heard from Adam Hoffer from Memphis, Tennessee. I'll start off my guess by confessing that the Scene Y'all Massacre does not ring a bell at all with me, even though I saw the movie for the first time just a couple of years ago. But knowing it was a Catherine O'Hara episode is my clue, and Adam saying he was going to use his guitar, I had a strong feeling what it was before y'all even said action. When the dialogue started and it was clear the scene was a Christopher Guest film, what other director continually hilariously features characters being pedantic and overly committed to something that really is not that big of a deal? From Best in Show to Waiting for Guffman to Mascots, there's a consistency in the psychology of his characters that includes the ones featured in this week's film, A Mighty Wind.
It's a good insight. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Jack. Thank you to everyone who entered. I gave Sam a little grief that this was one of the lowest entered massacre theaters of all time. Maybe just a little too obscure, even as obvious as the tie-in was. That was a little bit unfair, Josh. We got a few more than I had originally suspected. Still low, still very low. But we'll see what we can do when we bring Massacre Theater back after the break.
I think the real problem was, it was a problem for the episode overall, now that I think about it. As soon as we started singing, everyone just put, played.
That's right.
Left the episode entirely and moved
15, 30. I think it's because we didn't hit the 6th. If we had just hit the 6th properly,
there was no hope of that.
Right. Reach in to the not so brimming film spotting hat and pick out this week's winner.
Our winner is Mike Brown from Los Angeles.
Congratulations, Mike. Email feedback@filmspotting.net. We will set you up with your very own Filmspotting t-shirt, tote bag, or trial membership to the Filmspotting family. Sadly, no singing this week. No terrible acting of any kind. We are putting Massacre Theater on hiatus as we do this time of year. It will return after the conclusion of Filmspotting Madness in April.
This is blasphemy. This is madness.
This is absolute madness.
This is madness. Madness. Hey, this is madness.
But this is absolute madness, Ambassador. Why should you build such a thing?
Madness. This is Sparta!
There it is, Josh. It's official. It's here. The Filmspotting Madness intro is back. That means Filmspotting Madness is back. It's time to get a little crazy and start our 11th annual bracket-style movie elimination tournament. This year's theme is custom made for the Turner Classic Movies and Criterion Channel obsessive out there. It is best of the 1940s. And we hope that these little tournaments, especially as we go back through the decades here, and we have suggested the 40s is probably where we'll leave off, that it really is about what the show has always been about. It's been about, and it will continue to be about, discovery and homework in the best way possible, giving you an excuse, a mechanism to check out films that maybe you've always wanted to, maybe in some cases you didn't know you always wanted to, and now you have a reason to, you have an incentive to. And we just actually, maybe 24 hours ago or less, Josh, got this wonderful email from Maria in Kent, UK, that really couldn't have made us feel better about embarking on this enterprise yet again.
Yeah, don't take Adam's word for it. Here, listen to Maria. I just wanted to say a massive thank you for choosing to do Filmspotting Madness with the best films of the 1940s. When you first suggested this, I was really worried, as it's not a decade of cinema I know. I thought it was going to be a chore to try and fill all my blind spots, but not so. I am enjoying immensely watching the films on the list on Letterboxd. I am discovering amazing films which I would never, ever watch otherwise. I'm discovering incredible noir films, comedies, classic westerns, etc. And I can't believe I have never seen some of these masterful films before. That's why I love you guys. You are making me a better cinephile, and you are opening up my very limited experience. I'm looking forward to the Filmspotting Madness. It will be very difficult to pick a winner, as there are so many, many amazing films alongside classics such as Casablanca.
How about that? Thank you, Maria. We will share the complete 64 film bracket next week. That is also when we will launch the bracket contest. So you'll have a week to get your picks in, and you will compete against us and other Filmspotting listeners. If you're the winner, there will be some prizes at the end of it all. But first, the play-in round. We have to get it down to 64 films, Josh. We have to get it down to that tidy 64, the big dance. We have 29 films vying to advance to the big dance, 13 play-in matchups to highlight here this week. We're going to go through them pretty quickly. Maybe we can just kind of alternate here. These are the films that we felt like, man, they really deserve, the selection committee felt like they really deserve some acclaim. They need to be part of Filmspotting Madness Best of the 1940s, but we couldn't necessarily justify a place, an automatic bid to the tourney. So we've found some common ground here, some themes, as we like to do, and these are the matchups we're giving to you.
And this is the fun part. Kudos to the selection committee, you and Sam.
Oh, thank you.
I not a part of the selection committee, but this is the fun part of the play-in.
Yes.
Are the pairings that you find and the thematic connections, which honestly oftentimes makes it harder. So, which is, you know, of course, the ultimate point. But yeah, some of these are fun. So let's jump into them here.
Go ahead. Start us off.
All right. The first pairing is a Disney one, Dumbo versus Fantasia. So you have Dumbo kept the studio afloat during wartime. Fantasia flopped, but eventually became a prestige cornerstone. You have some avant-garde versus minimalism maybe going on here. Maybe the most intimate Disney feature versus the studio's most ambitious. I don't know. Do you have an emotional, sometimes with Disney films like this, Adam, that we saw for the first time as kids, there's an emotional response when you're forced to choose one. I think if you're leaning on emotion, there's maybe an obvious way to go.
Right.
But as an adult, you might add some more objectivity to it.
I'm just going off of the heart and Dumbo if I'm going to vote in this play-in matchup. How about this one? Screwball comedies. We have Adam's Rib versus Ball of Fire versus the Palm Beach Story. That's a lot of chaos. You've got Ball of Fire, Billy Wilder as writer before he really became Billy Wilder. Adam's Rib gives you Tracy Hepburn chemistry, like full legal sparring strength. I guess we could phrase it that way, Josh. The Palm Beach Story, a lot of people have said this is like a lethal dose of Sturgis chaos. So take that for what it's worth as you consider these films in the screwball comedy triumvirate. Next up, Reporting for Duty. This is one close to my heart. All journalism based. All the King's Men, Gentleman's Agreement versus Foreign Correspondent. Gentleman's Agreement, moral crusade journalism. All the King's Men, you know, journalism drifting into corruption. Foreign Correspondent, though, is journalism as foreign thriller spectacle. Of course, that's Hitchcock. So you've got two Best Picture winners against a Hitchcock thriller. Are you going to go prestige Best Picture, or are you going to go Hitchcock fun in Reporting for Duty? That's the question. You know how I feel about this next matchup, Josh.
Okay.
I don't know how you feel, though. This will be interesting.
Oh, yeah. This will be easy for you. Back-to-back Best Pictures. So How Green Was My Valley versus Mrs. Miniver. You know, Wales versus England.
That's right.
Of course, you could look at it that way. These are prestige heavyweights, both of them. Ford's film, which we just talked about recently as part of our Pantheon project, very nostalgic, but at the same time, very mournful. Wyler's is morale boosting, patriotic. You would probably say propagandistic, which is why you're voting for How Green Was My Valley.
Strongly.
And you know what? That warms my heart, Adam. It's still one of the favorite things that's happened on the show recently is how much you embraced How Green Was My Valley. I would have been very sad if you had just not enjoyed that at all. So I think, between the two, I'm much higher in Mrs. Miniver, but between the two, How Green Was My Valley is much more the masterful work. So I would vote that way as well.
Okay. Crosby v. Kelly v. Cagney. Going my way, v. On the Town v. Yankee Doodle Dandy. Bing Crosby charm, Gene Kelly athleticism, James Cagney just being Cagney, that raw energy of Cagney. Comparing On the Town and Yankee Doodle Dandy, I'm definitely picking Yankee Doodle Dandy. But again, can't compare those right now against Going My Way.
Next category, another Orson, The Lady from Shanghai versus The Stranger. The Stranger was Wells trying to play studio ball and Shanghai maybe shattering the ball. You've got a solid noir versus funhouse mirror shootout and,
of course,
also Rita Hayworth.
another Orson because you can certainly expect that at least one Orson Welles is going to be part of the bracket, probably a high seed. Classic monsters, Josh. Were you on your classic monsters like Bud Abbott and Lou Costello Meet Frankenstein v. The Wolfman? So you've got The Wolfman, legit, solid universal horror. Abbott and Costello's like horror comedy mashup. Both of us give us an ensemble that features Lon Chaney Jr. and Bela Lugosi.
Yeah, I mean, The Wolfman, it's not like a masterpiece, but it's one of those that still earns its classic status. And my blind spot area is horror comedy, especially horror comedy this old. I didn't end up doing a chapter in my horror book, Fear Not, on horror comedy as a subgenre. It was in the initial plan till my word count got cut down. That would have been a great opportunity to catch up on movies like Abbott and Costello, Meet Frankenstein. Sadly, didn't happen. I can't encourage people enough, though, to see The Wolfman if you haven't.
Okay. We have, is it Tournier?
I believe it's Tournier.
I'm going to go with
I
that.
think that's right.
Okay.
Yep.
Cat People versus I Walked with a Zombie. Both films written by Val Lewton. Repression and desire on display in Cat People. Colonialism, spiritual ambiguity in I Walked with a Zombie.
These two I did deeply consider for Fear Not, for the horror book. And I came away, Adam, I know Cat People is the better known. It's the one I had actually seen before researching for the book. It's probably the better regarded. I really like I Walked with a Zombie more. I think some of the ideas it's digging into there are richer. Not that Cat People doesn't have them, but yeah, this is maybe a bit of a counterintuitive vote for me, but I'm going with I Walked with a Zombie.
I like it.
Fatale Femmes is our next category.
I'm just going fatal.
Detour.
Fatal Femmes, Josh, in this case.
Oh, I was thinking, I thought this was like a play on words you two were up to here.
But I'm just going
Femmes
fatal.
Fatale.
Yeah. Sure. Yes.
I got to get on this selection committee and fix some of this stuff.
That's
All
right.
Femmes Fatale or Fatal Femmes. The movies are Detour versus Leave Her to Heaven. Two distinct visions of doom. The bleakest fatalism versus Technicolor noir. Detour we discussed on the show. Adam both liked quite a bit.
Yes.
I remember, I think.
Yes. I think we liked
Leave Her
it.
to Heaven.
It might have been our favorite film of that marathon. Call Me Larry. That as in Laurence Olivier. Hamlet v. Henry V. Of course, two forerunners of Kenneth Branagh and his films. Two takes on masculinity, I suppose you could look at it. Josh, Henry V is, stirring jingoism, really. And then Hamlet, you've got the brooding main character there and the psychology unraveling. I have seen these, but it has been a long time for both. And I'm really not a fan of Olivier's Henry V. I find it far too jingoistically stirring. So I'm inclined to go Hamlet.
All right. I'm going to take your word for that on this. This is your realm, so to speak. Our next category, Wounded Men, Drunken Angel versus I Shot Jesse James. So here, just to show we have been doing our homework, Adam, Drunken Angel, we just recently saw and talked about the early Kurosawa Mifune picture. The James, the Samuel Fuller picture, his first feature, I believe. Not one I've seen yet.
No.
So that's more homework for me.
Yes, indeed. Two director breakouts though, and both of them with some broken men. So that should be fun. All have a Guinness. Great Expectations, The Kind Hearts and Coronets. Prestige literary classic versus a cult favorite. And you get to decide, Josh, do you want just 1 pint of Guinness? Alec, that is, or do you want 8 because he plays 8 characters in Kind Hearts and Coronets? Kind Hearts and Coronets, I think, was part of a marathon. Was that predating you here on the show, Josh?
Predating me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've seen it and like it quite a bit more than Great Expectations, actually.
Okay.
I'm still trying to determine if this is this a pun you guys are pulling here? Do I allow this?
It's a title though. I thought you were
it's
okay
a title.
with titles.
I kind of like it. Okay. It's good. It's good.
Okay, last one. Give it to us.
Psycho thriller Kesa? Is that?
Come on, talking heads guy. Psycho thriller Qu'est-ce que c'est?
Qu'est-ce que c'est? There we go.
Yes.
Let's go with that.
Yeah.
What are you two up to here? This is Spellbound versus Suspicion.
Suspicion. 2 psycho thrillers. Yes. Prestige Hitchcock from the 40s.
I'm imagining as we're going here that like this Slack thread started at about 11 p.m. and finished at about 3:30 a.m.
I actually came up with that title all on my own, and Sam didn't shoot it down. So
explains it even more.
But, I mean, Spellbound is, I think, considered more like prestige Hitchcock. Cary Grant, Joan Fontaine from the mid-40s, and then you've got Ingrid Bergman and Gregory Peck in more of a paranoid thriller from the early 40s. So two different types of Hitchcock, just a few years apart, and both do involve a little bit of psychosis, and they're definitely thrillers, Josh, hence the title. Do you have a clear winner there for you?
I mean, it's hard not to think about more than the stars here, and Bergman or Grant. You're choosing between Ingrid Bergman or Cary Grant.
Yeah, I know.
And Gregory Peck.
Spellbound's really good.
Gregory Peck, is I don't want to just kind of set him aside, but Joan Fontaine and Cary Grant. Now you're really cooking. No, I can't decide. I'm going to put in my refusal to vote here.
Okay. Fair enough. You get one every round, Josh.
There you go.
The schedule, play-in polls are live right now. Don't bother us. We've got viewing to do. The play-in polls close at noon Central Time on Monday. That's our usual routine. So Monday, March 16th is when they close. After that, every week moving forward, they'll close. A new round will open. And that new round will open on Tuesdays at noon Central Time. And the bracket contest is coming starting Monday, the 16th through the following Tuesday, the 24th. I think, Sam, we're contradicting ourselves there. Is it just next week it starts on a Monday and then Tuesdays after that? We got to get ourselves in gear here. It's early, Josh. The selection committee is a little
clear next week.
Little wobbly. I promise you it'll be clear next week. You can rest assured that we're going to give you the matchups in round 1, and the bracket contest will be live next week on the show. That's really all you need to know. So again, play-in polls are live right now. Vote in those at filmspotting.net/madness. Filmspotting.net/madness. You've got until Monday at noon to get your votes in. And that's our show, Josh.
If you want to connect with Adam and the show on social media, you can find him on Instagram, Facebook, Letterboxd, YouTube as Filmspotting. I'm on all those places as Larson on Film. We are independently produced and listener supported. You can support the show by joining the Filmspotting family at filmspottingfamily.com. That way you'll be able to listen early and ad-free. You'll also get a weekly newsletter, monthly bonus episodes, and access to the entire show archive. For show t-shirts and other merch, go to filmspotting.net/shop.
In limited release out now, Josh, you can see an insecure Chinese-American teenager undergoes experimental surgery to appear white, hoping to secure the prom queen title and peer acceptance. That's slanted, and Letterboxd Mia Lee Vicino says it's blunt satire with sharp teeth. That's my favorite kind of satire. In wide release, Reminders of Him, adapted from the Colleen Hoover novel starring Micah Monroe and Tyreek Withers. And this does sound fascinating, Josh. The host of a popular paranormal podcast becomes haunted by terrifying recordings mysteriously sent her way. It's Undertone. Our friend Brian Tallarico gave it 4 stars on Letterboxd from this year's Sundance and said, "I knew podcasting was evil." So it's coming from inside the house.
Yeah, this is the Filmspotting origin story, right?
I think so. Undertone. Look for it now. Next week, Stand By Me at 40 and Filmspotting Madness Best of the 40s Round 1.
Filmspotting is produced by Golden Joe Dassault and Sam Van Hallgren. Without Golden Joe and Sam, I'm going to switch it around this week. This show wouldn't go.
Why not?
Actually, that doesn't work, does it?
It doesn't sound as good.
Our production assistant is Sophie Kempenar. Special thanks to everyone at WBEZ Chicago. More information is available at WBEZ.org. For Filmspotting, I'm Josh Larson.
And I'm Adam Kempenar. Thanks for listening.
This conversation can serve no purpose anymore. Goodbye.